It was a very cold morning on June 17, 1965. My mother was leaving our very humble home with my twin brother in one arm and me on the other arm. We were just 6 months old, on our way to work with our mother. Although the norm of every family is for the father to carry out the burden of the financial issues and for the mother to take care of her home, it was very different in our family. We were twins of a household with 7 more siblings. A normal day in our home was for my mother to wake up at 5 in the morning to go to work, while my father stayed at home sleeping in until it was time to go play pool and drink with his friends. While my mother worked in the streets selling fruits, my brother and I would stay in a box napping until it was time to go home. My mother was a very hardworking woman who sacrificed a lot for her 9 children to provide the best quality life she was able to offer. As I was growing up, I realized I wasn't able to receive any support from my father in any area of my life. I grew up used to not seeing him for days, as for him it was more of a priority to drink with his friends than to go to his wife and kids. In that moment, I knew that I had to step up to take my father's place and help out at home. At the age of 8, I started working on my own in the streets. My mother would go to sleep crying because she didn't want to see her son working at such a young age, but she knew that it was a great help for her and the family. If I ever needed money for books, for the bus, or food, I would go to my mom or find a way to get it myself. I never dared to ask my father for any money because I knew he didn't have any money since he would spend it all in drinking. Also, I didn't consider him as a father figure in my life. I was already 16 years old and I was having thoughts about dropping out of school. I was a very bright student, but I wasn't thinking about my future. All I had in mind was ways to make income to bring home. My sister's fiance found out about my thoughts of dropping out of school. He was so angry because he knew I was very bright and if I continued in school, I would have a secure future. He spoke to me and told me that I had no other choice but to stay in school. I told him that I had the best intentions to stay in school, but that my priority at that moment was to bring income to the house and that I also didn't have the financial status to pay tuition at a university. He said he knew about a university that was giving scholarships to teens with low financial resources. After the 3rd time of taking a test that the university required, I got accepted to the university with a full ride scholarship. I was very eager for the opportunity that life was not only giving to me, but also to my family, because I knew that later on in the future, I was able to be their provider. It was not as easy as I thought it would be, as I was often being teased for living in the poorest neighborhood in Bogota, Colombia. I had to take 4 buses in total to get to the university and come back. Many times I didn't have money to buy myself food, as almost all my money was being spent in bus rides. After 3 long and sacrificing years, I finished my degree in social work. I was moved to another city to start working in a small practice. With my first paycheck, I went grocery shopping for my family. I bought everything that would be enough for almost a month. Seeing my mother's face when she saw all the bags was very rewarding. In that moment, I realized that everything I went through as a young kid, all the sacrifices I had made, was being paid off. Although my father was absent for the most part of my life, and I had to go through obstacles because I was born in a low-class neighborhood, I did not let that stop me to be who I was born to be.